Arizona's primary election will take place on August 28th. Grassroots activist leaders are facing off against corporate Democrats for the party nominations. A generation of mostly Latina leaders are part of the local progressive upswing inside the Democratic Party. Tired of feeling betrayed and played by career politicians, they have decided to run for public office themselves, to occupy the positions that can impact their communities.
Sheriff Benzone is actually doing the same thing Sheriff Joe Arpaio did. And so while there was a name change and a party change, that same politic rests in that office. And so it must be systemic. The issue is systemic.
Teresa Mabry is a candidate for Justice of the Peace in South Phoenix, a district with some of the poorest neighborhoods in the city and with the highest rates of racial diversity.
So money can buy us signs, money can buy us ads, money can do lots of things with messaging, but that's not going to change the hearts and minds of what's happening in our communities. Folks want to say like, oh, the Democrats were responsible for what happened in Alabama. No, black women led that endeavor and moved and organized to build power.
One of only 12 Movement for Black Lives Electoral Justice Fellows, she has been an activist for over a decade. Born and raised in Guadalupe, queer, black, Chicana, the granddaughter of Mexican immigrants and a black community leader, she's at the center of a new vision of politics.
The electability politics, right? You have to look a certain way, you have to dress a certain way, you need to speak a certain way. Your platform needs to have these folks, and you need to have red, white, and blue as your standard colors for whatever you put out. And so we're challenging these norms because they don't serve our folks, they don't serve where we come from.
Maria Castro is running for governing board of the Phoenix High School District. She thinks that the same police agents that are killing in the streets should not be in charge of campus security.
We've seen here in the Phoenix Police Department how rogue this agency has been, shooting people every 5 to 7 days. And these same officers are within our schools, and we've been going to these school board meetings telling the school board, hey, these officers do not mean safety for us. These officers are literally shooting us in the streets. Why would you have them on our campuses?
After being ignored and even belittled, Castro decided to run for the very positions that will give her the power to make those changes herself.
These changes are the ones that need to happen, and they need to happen by the hand of our own people. And us running allows that to happen and allows us to put an end to a certain extent to the bigotry that is happening in the policy, to the ignorance and to the complacency of some of the folks who hold these positions or are trying to run for these positions, that they do just enough to be called progressives, but don't actually make the changes necessary that our community needs.
Castro particularly worries about the possibility of the Phoenix Police Department facilitating a path for minors to get deported.
Right now, with the school's school resource officer program, officers are allowed to take students off campus after they're arrested and take them into the county jails where ICE could be potentially waiting for them. So definitely reducing the amount of police officers that are involved in having student interactions both on campus and off campuses.
Mabry's platform as Justice of the Peace is to do everything possible to contain the criminalization of the poor by surcharging fines with fees and penalties. This can quickly snowball out of control for those who can't afford to pay and eventually send them to prison and to deal with the cost of that imprisonment.
So not only do you have to pay the warrant fee, you have to pay for your time that you spend in jail, and then the payment plan that you couldn't pay in the first place, and then you have to come and appear for the judge. So not only are you missing and paying, have a list of things that you couldn't pay in the first place, now you've got to go appear in front of the judge, which is more time that you're out of work. So we're criminalizing folks who are poor.
Mabry thinks this benefits only those profiting from the prison industrial complex, which in many cases have occupancy quotas that counties and states must meet or face hefty reimbursements. In Arizona, MTC Management and Training Corp., a for-profit private jail corporation, recently got $3 million from the state after they accepted a settlement on a $15 million lawsuit. The reported quota on its contracts for the prison in Kingman is a 97% occupancy warranted.
What does it look like to be values aligned when you can take an endorsement from a police union that covers up the murders and the assaults of our community and be really proud of it and not question it? then we have to look a little bit deeper. We have the highest the black infant mortality rate in the nation in South Phoenix. So these things, when we think about what's going on, and while they're not directly related, but they play into a geopolitical dynamic that exists in South Phoenix and Levine. And so when you cannot be value-centered, when you are moving and having money talk to you in a certain way, it allows your accountability to be questioned, that you're accountable to where that money comes from, and not accountable to where you came from and the folks who've held you up and got you where you've been.
Castro is wary of fake progressives riding the blue wave.
You know, time and time again, we've seen, even on this school board, you know, it's supposedly the most progressive, but yet continue to ignore our people's plight. The city council, there's many Democrats on there, but that doesn't mean that they represent us the way that they should. And so, again, these people are running for their party, they're running for their own political gain because they want to climb some way. We're not climbing, we're building, and we're building at the base. So that our communities can feel stronger, so that our communities have a voice and have a seat at the table.
Teresa Mabry feels the Democratic Party can't really claim credit for recent progressive victories.
So we're not in a flashpoint here with Ocasio-Cortez and what's happening with Stacey Abrams and what's happening here in Phoenix. This isn't a flashpoint. This isn't something that happens randomly, that we actually are part of a legacy that has continued to build from the civil rights era and before that.
Castro concludes with a warning about what she sees as career politicians bending their way to power.
They go up and up and up in their different political positions, and it's easy for them to climb because they don't bring community with them. Again, we're base building. We're allowing our communities to learn these processes. We're allowing our communities an opportunity for them to be at the forefront of these changes, for them to be able to dream about what freedom and justice looks like in their own terms, instead of allowing these other people to just do it on their own, right? Instead of doing things for them, we're doing things alongside them.
Follow The Real News for more on the fight for community and human rights.